Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV, getting my first full look at this model now that it's gone in production. I saw the original prototype of this, and it just felt like it wasn't done cooking. And I get a lot of prototypes on this channel, but sometimes I'm like, I really want people to get to see the real deal of Vander Holyfield when it comes out. And I'm glad I waited on this one, because the updates here are really, really nice. So what we're looking at is a hard find in the RV industry. This is something with opposing living room, big slides, no island, giving it a big, huge, open, wide open feel. Like you could play a half-court game of basketball in this thing and have a hoedown and a hootenanny all in there, maybe at the same time. Not sure if you could squeeze the hootenanny in, but definitely the hoedown. The thing is, though, with no island in the middle, you feel like maybe you'd lose out on prep space, but the whole rear wall of this thing is just a wicked, awesome kitchen. It has a big refrigerator in it, too, way bigger than you normally get in this size of fifth wheel, and a really nice, I don't know if I want to call it camp kitchen. I'm going to say campsite entertainment station over on the door side under the second power awning. Because one of the problems, when you shove all of that space into only 31 feet, you end up with slides on the campsite and you end up with a broken up awning. But at least they put the double awning on it to still maximize the potential patio space that you have on here. But that's the thing. You have huge open living space and only 31 foot tip to tail total that you're towing. And remember, several feet of that overlaps with your truck. So you're probably only effectively towing, I'm going to say 28, 27 feet behind you on something like this. And I think that makes this a really good model for like going someplace for 2 weeks at a time and then bouncing, 2 weeks at a time, bouncing, that hopscotch kind of camping, that mooch docking, seeing the family across the country, checking out the sights, good tires, good ride and handling package, anti-lock brakes factory standard on these now, rear hitch on the back, all kinds of good stuff. This is a really slick in-betweener. From the small 30-foot fifth wheels to the big 35ers, this one just clicks right in the middle. And I gotta tell you, I am really glad I waited a little bit on this one, because the original prototype that I saw, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't this good. They put in some really nice work on this. And I gotta tell you, I am a big fan of RVs like this with opposing slides, but no island, eating up the floor space. Because, you know, again, what is this thing? 31 feet total, something like that. But you have the open air living space of like a 45-foot fifth wheel, because it's just not dominated by the island. Now, don't get me wrong, islands have plenty of functions. Extra storage, extra prep space, etc. Like I'm not against islands entirely, but I like having some options, and I like the space this gives you. If what you're looking for is nice, big, open, comfortable living space in something that doesn't require 45 feet and something that's still far more mobile and towable, this is a killer option, in my nerdy little opinion. Little details we're going to get into, like the fact that this has a bigger oven, is a nice touch. Although I will tell you, I like to tell you the good with the bad. That converter location is a concern. I have fears. I haven't verified them yet. We're going to close the slide for road mode to double check, but I have fears that when the slide is closed, we are going to block that converter fuse box off, and that is a potential problem that I don't feel like dealing with. So right now, viewers who are watching with like stereo headphones, you're only hearing my voice out of the left, the left ear, because I'm over here to the left of the camera right now, trying to get you the decent views. I do really appreciate the direct viewing entertainment aspect of this, and the window coverage overall. I'm gonna give it a pass. It's not maximum 100% campsite window coverage, but it don't suck either. You know, I'll give it some credit there. I like the indirect lights under that booth dinette. If I'm not mistaken, there is a freestanding table and chairs swaption available for this one as well. And the lights in the slide ceiling right there, the lights in the, what do I want to say, the main cabin, the living room where we're in right now, and the lights in the bedroom are all on their own separate dimmer switches, which is neat. Now, I just happened to look up above my head, so let's talk about it. We've got a standard 15,000 BTU air conditioner right here. This is 50 amp. We can absolutely get it set up with a second air for you. And I am personally a fan of these full wall rear kitchens, because the amount of storage and prep space you get without extending the length of the RV to an extreme degree and rocking the mic like a vandal, waxing chumps like candles, if you pick up that reference. I like it. Now, somebody might ask the question, yeah, but I've heard, and is it true, that storage behind the axles bounces more than storage in front of the axles or above it? And the answer is yes, absolutely. But again, I want to go back to the fact that this is like a 31-foot fifth wheel and not a 45-foot fifth wheel. So the rear overhang over those tandem axles is not the biggest and most extreme that the world has ever seen. So it's not going to bounce as much back here. You know, now if you don't like that, they make other rear living room models that you may prefer. So it's all different points of consideration. The larger oven is one of the things that not a lot of brands offer. So that's a nice little feature there. But this right here is kind of cool. We have this slide open little bump out where whether you're working at the sink or the stove, or if you just need to maximize your space, you got it. And because it doesn't have a traditional island, even when that's open, like, I think it feels better when it's open because it just kind of uses the space more effectively in a way. Because one of the things that people will say is, yeah, but if an RV has no island, it's just a big cave. It's a bunch of wasted dead space. And I can understand that sentiment. And I don't necessarily think that's wrong. But I like that comfort of the open air design sometimes. And the fact that this maintains maximum storage while also giving us extra counter space when you need it is really, really handy. The slides down here, they're floor flush, they're carpetless. Cougar is running a cable slide system currently. I always like to try to point out what different RVs use because there's different advantages and different drawbacks to everything here. And that appears to be one of those 16 cubic foot variety 12-volt compressor fridges. So I think for this size of RV, that's a very reasonable size fridge there. What's also cool about this is that we're getting dedicated dining and a theater seat and a hide-a-bed in only about 31 foot tip to tail. And here's another interesting thing on Cougar RVs. If you go outside of them, if you look, most fifth wheels, the nose cap sticks out past the what do I want to say? The hitch pin box. That's not the case on Cougars. You can see in the reflection, I talk with my hands when, even when you can't see me. Behind the camera over here, it looks like I'm playing a game of charades. You know those videos where like a sign language interpreter gets caught making up fake sign language? That's what it looks like if you ever get to see me behind the camera. And Cougar's really gone all in on their pantry-tainment concept. They were one of the first ones to kind of pioneer it when it was mostly just a TV that swung out of the way. Now it's the whole wall that swings out of the way. They've done a good job back here, though, putting some very aggressive lips on this storage so that stuff in there doesn't fly out of place while you're going down the road. And just so you're curious, these are the back cushions on the sleeper sofa. I threw them in there just to give you a banana for scale, basically. You know what? I literally want to get a banana for scale and start throwing it in the cabinet. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. If you look at this overhead cabinet, there's the upper right corner of it looks dead. I bet what they're doing is they turn that into linen storage space in the bathroom. That's a really smart decision right there. Because from the ground level, you'd have to climb on the sofa to get to that anyway. So that puts it makes that space useful, I think. I think that's what they did. I bet that was a really smart move. We're going to verify in a little bit here, obviously. Now, I like those household and USB outlets over there in that corner next to this hide-a-bed as well. Now, obviously, when the pantry door is not open and in the way, you'll discover that you can easily walk around the sofa. If the sofa is deployed, especially because the RV has no island, it doesn't really get in the way. So let me slide that out of the way here. Now you're hearing what sounds like a scuffing sound as I close that door. That's because I had to shove the little piece of carpet that comes with the camper to wipe your feet off. I had to shove that under the pantry-tainment floating door because the recoil on that hinge kept closing it up. So I thought maybe this would be a more useful visual right here. The theater seat is a ripcord style, and it is a population controller where there is a hard fixed armrest. However, the middle armrest and the two side recliners are technically three separate pieces that bracket together. So if you want to remove that center armrest and have cuddle compliance, or rearrange it and set that center armrest to the side of the sofa to create a little function space there, that is something you absolutely could do. But I am seeing that that side center console has some USB plugs and stuff built into it, so there might be some electrical wiring there that you might have to run, or to figure out. Basically, there's a plug behind the sofa. You have to figure out how it plugs in that centerpiece. But those things could be removed and rearranged. And I think I gave you a little bit of a preview of this kitchen storage when the video first began, but to kind of hit it in more detail, that is a conventional microwave. It's a smaller one. It is a larger oven than most brands have. It's not the same size oven as like a full-on Montana luxury fifth wheel would have. Now, in case you're hearing a funky little chime, the refrigerator's like, hey, dummy, you left the door open for too long. Do you want, are you trying to cool the whole neighborhood, son? That's what it's trying to say in not so many words. What's also kind of cool here is you don't necessarily have to pull that whole middle section open to use those drawers. That extra prep space is just sort of there when you need it and gone when you don't. Now, what I haven't seen is a sort of travel lock on that. Obviously, it's going to be blocked behind the slide outs when it closes, but I haven't seen anything that could help prevent it from sort of jiggle sliding a little bit over and then jiggle banging into the slide fascia. That might be something that you may want to kind of consider for the travel function on one of these. I really like the overhead cabinets here, how they subdivided with those shelves, because basically it doubles the amount of cabinet function space you have in there. And I see the pop-up power towers. We also have another set of outlets under the overhead cabinet all the way above the sink, which is an interesting location for something like that. But I suppose they also probably didn't have a lot of other potential opportunities. Massive space for wastebaskets, obviously, under the sink. And the updated Cougar dinette with the easy up-down Dream dinette system, and the drawers and the indirect lighting down here. Like, I'm very happy with this. I've liked Cougar RVs for a number of years. I've made no secret of that on this channel. I've never said they're perfect, but I would camp. I like them. I would camp a Cougar, basically. But the dinettes were always one of those things, like, they did so many good things, and then they just really phoned it in on the dinettes, and that never quite made sense to me. So I'm really glad to see them kind of get that detail handled there. Now, I'm actually going to turn some chicken poop into chicken soup here. I'm not necessarily in love with my chubby reflection in this mirror overlooking the sofa there, but my blue shirt does kind of bring to light something. This is a very HOA approved decor. There is nothing like really, it's very clean and classy, I think. It's very warm and welcoming, but it's also kind of subdued. But my blue shirt there kind of made me realize this is the kind of decor that you throw a couple pillows or throw blankets with some loud color in here, and it very quickly springs to life. Oh, that's smart. Just a little flip-flop shop shoe garage built into the stairs there as we slide upstairs. I do also want to mention, Cougar is literally the reason that these window shades open from bottom up. They were the first manufacturer to listen to your feedback on that. And those windows in the door are pre-installed from the door suppliers. And the door supplier said, we're only going to do it one way. Pick top down or bottom up. And your voices all together, like Captain Planet powers combined, got those things to flip around. I'm not at a great angle to display this, but that is a medicine cabinet built into the wall right there. Actually, hold on. Let me add you in some bonus footage. Look over on the left side of the screen right about now. You can see how that actually, like, the hollow space inside of the wall, they use as the medicine cabinet. And what that does is it gets that mirror out of the way so it's not banging you in the head. And down below, I love the drawer space down there. Like, that's really good, really respectable. And big stainless sink built over in here, doing us a heck of a job of giving us a decent space to wash our face, you know. Speaking of business that you need done, let's talk about the turlet. You could use this for making pruno, which is slang for prison wine. But you also have porcelain foot flush stool here with just excellent space around it. And apparently, as I demonstrated, the emergency Taco Tuesday ejection handle that you can grab onto there. I knew it. I didn't think to look up in here when I briefly reviewed the RV before starting this footage. I knew they were going to use that space in that upper cabinet above the sofa for linen space, because behind this wall is that sofa cabinet. So I really like how they're thinking through the walls and literally thinking outside the box on these Cougars. That's some good stuff. Now, first of all, the upper deck height in these is pretty respectable. I'm about 6'1" flat foot, plus I'm wearing some crazy thick-soled shoes. So I'm at least 6'2" flat foot, or 6'2" with shoes in that shower, if not maybe slightly more. I can stand in that shower without bonking my head, without ducking, and you might notice how Cougar has standardized the Oxygenics shower head. If you get on Amazon and run some searches, this is the #1 most sought after aftermarket replacement for bathroom shower fixtures in RVs in the entire industry. So Cougar said, hey, let's just go with that from the get, and let's get that done. Again, we are 50 amp service. This is a single 15,000 BTU air standard. It is prepped and ready for a second air either after the fact, or we could install one for you, at our dealership locations. Now, they did a thing here. They gave us bonus closet storage without including a second wardrobe slide. And what that gives us is less weight, less cost, bigger breeze windows over here, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think a regular viewer, Miss Dee Dee Bolter, Auntie Dee Dee, basically, she's always saying how she would really wants the big windows and the cross breeze ventilation in a fifth wheel bedroom that this is now providing. Now, I'm going to try to slide over here a little bit. There we go. Sorry if the camera works a little more wonky than normal. Straight across from the bed, you've got a great spot for TV hookups. And I really like how they could have just left this wall blank. They could have done nothing with it. But they did some cross work on it and added the, it looks like mustachioed mastodon coat holders here, if you will. But this whole corner, I mean, let's talk about it. First of all, by default, it's just a big chunk of closet space. Again, what it's giving us here, frankly, is more storage than a, than a wardrobe slide could actually even provide. And it's doing it with fewer seal points, one less slide mechanism, a lot less weight and cost. But I noticed something funny about that rear wall back there. It didn't quite look right to me. And I was like, wait a minute, doesn't this floor plan have washer-dryer hookups? And sure as shooting, there they is right there. The trick is, I always like to be very fair and candid with you. If you utilize that cabinet space right there for a washer and dryer, you have effectively removed all hanging closet space from this RV. And you're thinking, yeah, well, what about the cabinets beside the bed? Those are not hanging cabinets. They're not tall enough to be hanging cabinets because Cougar likes to make their RVs kind of comfortable for claustrophobic side sleepers. And they give you these nice open stands with the lights. And I do like those little, I'm going to call them power boxes that they've equipped on either side of the bed right there. And those are both USB plugs type A and C, and household outlets that are inverter prepped in there. So they have, they've done some good things, but if you had a washer dryer, you ain't hanging nothing in here. I want to try to give them some credit here. I'm not saying this is the best thing ever and no one would be unhappy with it, but they have at least tried to do something decent with this mattress. This is not the same blue factory backbreaker death wafer landfill machine of a mattress that most factories have. They're at least trying to do something a little bit better here. So giving credit where it's due once again. Easy lift bed, easy storage below. You might notice that small little step right there. That is because their chassis, they include an extra structural cross member right there that basically raises that floor just a little bit, but it also keeps the frame from flexing to an unnecessary degree, so that, you know, when this thing's 6, 7, 8 years old, it's still camping and it's, you know, not an insurance nightmare. And as I am inclined to typically do, I've closed up the slides to show you this thing in road mode. I was really curious, with no island, I wondered how accessible this thing would be, but normally without an island, I would default to saying, I bet it's going to be very easily accessible. But I remembered that this RV was also built to be a shorter, more compact towing length while still providing a fully featured floor plan. So it's a little tight right here, but I do believe we are going to be able, without ever touching a slide button, to wiggle and worm our way around this thing. And actually, in point of fact, it wasn't too terribly bad at all. So if I need to, I can get back here to the refrigerator. I'm not gonna count this as like sink access. Yes, I can reach around the corner and get to the sink if my life depends on it, but I don't think anybody agrees this is easy sink access. One of the concerns I had, though, camera work's going to get really awful tight. We're going to look like Indiana Jones when those boats are closing in on him, or the walls are closing in, or whatever. The converter fuse panel. It's not awesome how it's setting, but I think here's what I'll say about this. I think that, like, if you're going down the road and you go to open this slide, the kitchen slide, and the fuse pops, do I think you could get in there and replace it? Very inconveniently, yes. You're going to swear 4 times, 2 small swears and 2 big swears, but you're going to be able to do it. And those of you who watch me all the time, you're probably tired of hearing me get up on this soapbox, but I don't care that the name of this RV is Cougar Half Ton. I don't think this has any business getting hitched up to almost all half-ton pickups out there today. And a couple reasons. First of all, the total GVW, the full weight of this, is over 10,000 pounds. And there's plenty of half-tons that already don't handle it very well right there. But that's really not the thing that gets my goat on this. It's the fact that the hitch weight, especially once loaded with cargo and you get into your vehicle, you will exceed your vehicle's payload rating almost every time in a half-ton pickup trying to hook this up to it, and airbags do not fix that. Now, an interesting thing on Cougar products, you see how the pin box actually sticks out past the nose cap. That's very uncommon in the industry today, and very few manufacturers are actually executing something like that. I think the biggest benefit that you're going to get there is just a better, cleaner turning radius. It just literally pushes the RV back further so that you don't have the cap of the RV colliding with the cab of your pickup, because no matter who wins that pushing match, you lose, basically, guys. And they're avoiding that here. So basically, my towing recommendation is I think this should be on a 3/4 ton pickup or better, with very few exceptions. The upgraded pin box in the smaller class of fifth wheels like this is really, really rare. Most of the time, a lot of brands, not all, but a lot of brands will have like a similar MORryde or a Road Armor suspension package. Or there's the new touring coil spring systems that are really nice out there. But an upgraded pin box is something a lot of brands are not doing. And again, with this only being about 31 foot tip to tail, it's not so long that it's the most intimidating thing to tow around. It's not like either awning is big, but at least you do still have the double awnings to maximize your space. There's a floor plan in the history of Cougars, a 28 SGS that later became a 27 SGS, that only had this one like 8-foot awning in front of the slide, and that was it. And that just always felt really stupid to me. And this current generation of Cougars not doing that stuff. I like the toy hauler, like coin style rubberized flooring down here. You've got more of those inverter prepped outlets out here. Also 3-way switches for both awnings. So you can be down here at ground level and open your awnings without needing to go inside, because they don't have that smart command package like they used to on these, which I'm okay with. But, I just realized they're using upgraded awning lighting on this. This is the kind of stuff that when you're at an RV dealership, you can't see most of the time. You see how it's just one solid beam? That stuff runs more money. So that's representing a couple dollars more in this Cougar, but it's lighter, it's brighter, it doesn't look like the Morse code ... It just looks cooler and cleaner, arguably. I guess that's subjective, but I think most people would tend to agree with that. But that's why I like to power stuff up in my videos. I like to go those extra miles for you folks, you know? And again, I'm not calling this a camp kitchen. A lot of people will. but I'm going to call it a convenience center, like a drink station. We got an outdoor entertainment area here with, we have a TV center with Dad's medicine cabinet. That's where you keep the bottled water and the barley pop. But, you know, they had little funky pockets in space, and they tried to create some storage solutions where they could. I like that galvanized rolled steel kind of slide open utility table there. I guess if you need a place to cut some limes and mix up a drink, you got a perfect little place to do that. Working our way around here. These are cable slides, in case you hadn't noticed, or they might not be easy to see on camera. It's easier to see, you know, to the naked eye. As we work our way around back, you do have that factory standard 250-pound rated ladder on the back there. We are camera prepped. We're TPMS prepped as well, but this does have anti-sway. Nope, I'm sorry. This has, what do I want to say? Anti-lock brakes, factory standard on these as well. And it still blows me away that anti-lock braking is not federally safety required on every single towable RV with a braking system out there. I'm just shocked that it's not. That's one of those things. It would add a couple dollars to almost all RVs out there. I get it, but it's a massive potential safety feature that I feel strongly about myself. Okay, so I see the safety chain hooks. Cougar's funny. Some models, they call it a towing hitch, and some they only call it an accessory hitch. And it's weird. I see the safety chain hooks, but I don't see the 4-way wiring harness. I'm going to have to do some asking around on that. That might have been an unintentional oversight. There might be something there that I'm not aware of. Something else I do want you to see, though, is you do have that sewer hose tube holder right there. This is a split sewer monster, though. Back here, you have your kitchen gray tank outlet. But because it's a rear kitchen and your bathroom's too far away, they can't cross plumb everything because it will conflict with the axles. You do have your bathroom black and gray tanks all the way up there. So if you are reading the tank capacities on this RV, it's going to read really weird. It's going to read that the gray tank capacity is way bigger than everything else because it's actually multiple gray tanks and not one gigantic cross-plumb gray tank. They just couldn't accomplish that here. Tankless on-demand water heater, enclosed docking center. All Cougars, by the way, every single, even their trailers, are all 0 to 110 degree rated. And Keystone's one of the only manufacturers that actually does have their own weather testing booth, basically. Most manufacturers who make, quote, 4 seasons claims, they literally don't actually do any testing. They don't have a third party do testing. They just put a sticker on the camper and hope they get your money. And as awful as that sounds, that is dead accurate. And I can't believe more people don't talk about that. But moving on from there, Cougar actually does test everything. So they have radiant foil layering through the ceiling along with traditional insulation, both of which run down the nose cap. A lot of brands call that double insulated. So I guess if that's what you want to call it, that's what Cougar does too. The underbelly is enclosed. It is forced air heated. It does have radiant layering going through that belly. And that's where most brands stop. But Cougar keeps going. They not only have a forced air heat vent into the belly, they also run forced air heat vents that terminate and blow hot air directly onto each individual holding tank. And they have 12-volt thermostatic holding tank heat pads. And they actually run all of their water plumbing lines in that belly alongside those heat runs. So any heat that is organically spilling off, which is just through diffusion of heat, something that happens, is helping protect those water lines. Cougar tests down to 0 degrees. They might be capable of more, but that's the only promise they've made, so that's the only promise I can make. So let me know what you think about this thing. I'd like to leave you links to similar floor plans from other builders, but I can't think of something else, again, that's exactly like this. There's some things that maybe have shades or nuances, but this feels like almost a unicorn out there right now. And if I've missed one, leave me a note, let me know, and maybe there's something else I got to get on camera so you can cross-compare a couple brands. Speaking of that note, take a look at the links in the video description. Whether you're curious or whether you're serious, I've got a link down there where you can see where we have one of these in stock and what we're asking, or at least get a general idea of MSRP. One click away, never have to call a salesperson, no big deal. So when you're ready, we're ready. And until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.